We have Jim from BuildBuddy. Welcome.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm Jim. I'm a software engineer at BuildBuddy. This is less of a product pitch and more of kind of a demo via screenshots. I'm going to be talking about some tooling that we've built to help you find like weird, slow, bad builds, stuff that uses a lot of cache, stuff that's just downloading stuff slowly, things like that. Talk before lunch if you're watching remotely, so if it seems like I'm in a hurry, that's what's going on. This is a question I kind of ask myself randomly when I have a CI run, probably once every couple of months. It used to be like 8 minutes, now it's 15. And the question is, what the hell happened? When did it happen and why? I feel like it's always kind of been a while that your builds have been slow by the time you notice something like this, because, it's like things can be noisy. Sometimes the thing takes a few extra minutes, something like that. And you say you just kind of like ignore it, right? And you like move on with your life until one day you're just like, this is way too much. What do I actually need to do to fix this? When did it go wrong? And so what we've had for a while now is this little trends page in BuildBuddy, which basically has every build that you've ever streamed to us via BES. And you can just kind of like see the number of builds you've been running for the last few years or whatever. The build duration, we have stuff for action cache hit rate and download speed and stuff like that. And if you look at this build duration graph down at the bottom here, you can see we have gotten a lot slower. This is our actual data from our repo. You can see we've had a few bumps over time in the last 5 months. I'm going to talk about the one over on the right there, which was nice because when I was getting this talk ready, I needed an example, and it was something that was happening, and I found when I was getting the talk ready. So okay, we found some random build where P90 build times went up by, what was it? They doubled. They went from 10 minutes to 20. That's bad. Basically, at this point you're like, okay, I'm gonna hunt for whatever the slowest builds were. I'm gonna maybe go dig through PRs, look for something that was bad. But this is every CI pipeline that we run. All we know is that things just kind of got slower in general. So finding this is kind of a pain in the butt. And so this is all just kind of a feed into what we've built here, which is this new little button up at the top of the page there. That's this drill downs page. And if you go to that, you get this little heat map. And if you've used observability tools before, this might look familiar. Basically, this is the same as the build duration graph that we were looking before. You can kind of see the same spikes. Each cell in the heat map corresponds to some number of builds that you run. And you can see kind of, over on the right there is that little block we were talking about. You can see things kind of spiked up a bit. And now what you can do with this is any section of this graph, you can kind of just zoom in. And so we're going to zoom into just 1 week of data. And you can kind of see, okay, cool, on September 8th, everything was fine. And it's maybe a little bit faint up on the projector here, but you can see these kind of zones where all of a sudden, September 12th, things got a lot slower. And so what we can do is we can basically just highlight a section of this chart. And when you let go of the mouse, we pop up this little series of bars down at the bottom here. That's a bunch of dimensions of the builds that you're looking at. And so basically the build pattern, the repo that you're actually building on, the host name, the user, stuff like that. And each bar in here, the green bars are the things that you selected. The purple bars are the things that you didn't select. And so kind of right away, you can see in the little pattern section, this is all workflow runs for us. You can see this bare metal test target corresponds to or accounts for 75% of the really slow builds, even though it's only 13% of our builds overall. Just as a point of comparison, our WebDriver test suite is 17% of our builds overall, but it's none of this really slow stuff. And so right away, okay, cool. If nothing else, what's slowing us down right now is this bare metal test suite that we have. And so what we can do is we can actually click directly on that bar, and it will add a new filter to this UI. And so you can see that the heat map updated a little bit. Now we're just looking at these builds that correspond to that single workflow. And now to go even a little bit deeper, you can kind of highlight all those slow builds again. Now that we know we're looking at something that's actually what's contributing to our problems, you can go down the page and just find a list of indications of the ones that are actually slowing things down. And so you can just kind of go click through to all these. And since this is a 10-minute talk, I'm going to just jump ahead. And I picked an easy example. This is just a flake. So all we had going on was somewhere in one of our CI pipelines, something turned into a flake. It was taking 10 minutes to run instead of 2. And that slowed us down a whole bunch. And so if you really wanted to make sure that it actually mattered. If you go through the actual invocations and you look at our little timing profile, you can see that there's actually only one action running for the entire 15 minutes. And there's basically no CPU usage going on. It's just a weird deadlock in the test. And so it was pretty easy from here to just kind of like go and fix the thing up. So that's pretty much the thing. Basically, it's not just build times. You can go and mess around with like cache hit rate, download size and speed for invocations. If you're using RBE, you can look at how long things are queuing for, execution time for those actions, time spent uploading and downloading inputs and outputs. Yeah, oh, and I guess one more thing. We have all these little drill down types, and the other thing that we have that's really cool is you can just set arbitrary text labels onto builds. So you can basically just say, like, if you have something that you know is special, but there's no real way for us to sort of identify it from the build stream, you just slap text onto it and find it later in our UI. Just as an example, this is the exact same window, only looking at action execution time. And so you see this little region show up all of a sudden around September 12th. And if you highlight it, you can go in and see, no kidding, it's the exact same set of tests that was what became flaky, and they all take 10 to 15 minutes. And if you go through to the actual execution details page, you can see timeouts for things that are taking 15 minutes and giving up. If you really, really wanted to go deep into stuff, you could go and look at the actual execution details for the action and see like if anything weird had changed about arguments, environment variables, stuff like that. I think the coolest thing about all this is that it's just in our cloud offering. So if you point your build event stream at us, this will just work. This is all running on top of an OLAP database. So if you're doing like millions of builds, no big deal. Just point it there, it'll work. We keep the data for all time unless you tell us not to. So basically you can, if you found out that your builds got slow like 6 months ago and you want to know exactly when it happened, so you don't have to go hunting through like, all of your PR history, you can like kind of narrow it down to like a 5-minute window when things went bad in your CI pipelines, and it'll be there. And pretty much everything that I mentioned is available as a Prometheus metric. So if you're really into that and you like to get alerts when your builds get slow, you can do that. Personally, I think it's noisy, but there you have it. Yeah, that's kind of it. So try it out, come talk to us. We're hosting happy hour tomorrow night. I think it's pretty easy to get to. It's right outside that door there. I think you have to sign up. So I think there's like, I think we put a page. What was it, George? Yeah, if you didn't hear that, it's okay, because you're probably not going to come to happy hour anyway. We have a Slack. You can email us, talk to us anytime, find me at lunch, whatever. Yeah, thanks a lot.